If you've been online in the past 48 hours, you've probably seen the headlines. People regain weight within 18 months after stopping Ozempic. Weight comes back 4 times faster than with diet and exercise. You'll be on it forever. The media is having a field day. It's kind of scaring me a little, to be honest, as well. And people are panicking. So let me tell you what these headlines are not saying and what you actually need to know if you're considering using GLP-1 medications or you're already on them. Hi, I'm Wendy Humphries. I'm a certified functional nutritionist, advanced live and dry blood analysis, and a metabolic balance coach here in Greater Sudbury, Ontario. And I'm about to start using Ozempic myself, which I've been pretty public about. Kind of gives me a bit of a queasy feeling, but because I'm a little very private person, but uh, it's out there. That's all I can say. So when this study dropped and the fear-mongering started, I had a lot of people reach out. And truthfully, I was panicking myself and I had to do some deep diving, some research on my own. Should I even bother? Am I going to gain it all back? And, all of the other questions that came up as soon as I started listening to a lot of these messages. Here's what I told them, and here's what I found out about this. Yes, people actually gain the weight back when they stop using GLP-1s, but not because of the medication stops working, but because it's a failed treatment. They gain it back because nobody fixed the metabolic dysfunction that caused the weight gain in the first place. Let me repeat that. They gained it back because nobody fixed that underlying root cause of why they were metabolically dysfunctional in the first place. Powerful. Let me break it down. This study that I actually read, and let show you what it actually is saying and what it's not saying. So, what the study actually said, the new research published in BMJ analyzed 37 studies with over 9,300 participants who stopped taking weight loss medications, including semaglutide, so the Wegovy and the Ozempic, and tirzepatide, so the Manjaro or the Zimbound. And here's what they found. Number one, people who stopped taking the GLP-1s regained weight faster than people who stopped behavioral programs like diet and exercise. About zero point 0.8 kilograms per month, roughly 1.7 pounds. Finding two. On average, people who lost 30 pounds on the medication regained about 22 pounds in the first year after stopping. Did you ever listen to the interview with Oprah? That's exactly what happened with her within the first year. She was part of that fear mongering that got me on this train of trying to figure out everything that's going on. And finding two, by 18 months after stopping, most people were projected to return to their starting weight. Now, as scary as that sounds, the media took these findings and ran with them, of course, like everything else that the media does. Headlines everywhere screaming, see, it doesn't work. You'll be on this forever. Everyone gains it back. But here's what they're not telling you, and this is critical. What the study didn't look at, whether people address their underlying metabolic dysfunction while on the medication. They didn't look at whether people worked on their insulin resistance, their hormone balance, their nutrient deficiencies. They didn't look at whether people actually changed their relationship with food and stress. They did not look at whether people built sustainable nutritional habits. This is this is this is gold. This is what I've been trying to explain to people all along. And it did not check to see whether people had any metabolic support during or after the medication. The study just looked at medication on weight loss happened. Medication off, weight loss came back. Well, of course it does. Duh. If you use medication as a standalone solution, if you just take the drug, lose weight, change nothing else about your metabolism and then stop, well, yeah, it will come back. It just because nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. But that's not the medication's fault. That's the treatment approach problem. So here's the truth that's getting lost in all the fear mongering. GLP-1 medications work brilliantly when used correctly. The problem is most people are using them as a band-aid, not a bridge. And I see this for so many things, not just this medication, but even supplements. Supplements can be used as a band-aid as well too. And they're not using it to be able to restore function. There's no connection. There's a big disconnect. So let me tell you what I mean. The band-aid approach, start medication, appetite suppressed, weight drops, maybe change nothing else. And this appeals to a lot of people, unfortunately. And these are the people that will be on the medication forever. Because making changes is hard, and I get it. But I also see that this medication costs a lot of money. So maybe change nothing else. Stop the medication because of whatever reason, because of the cost, the side effects, the thinking, I'm done. I got my goal. I'm good. I'm golden. The weight comes back because again, you haven't changed anything underneath. You feel like a failure. That's innate. That's, you know, this is just one more thing that I tried that didn't work. That's the little voice in your head that keeps going on. There's a different approach, and this is my whole understanding and why I'm trying to do a lot of this for so many people. It's called the bridge approach. And this is where you start medication to create that metabolic window, to be able to give you the silence you need to the food so the food noise that goes on constantly to give you a bit of a break from that, to give you a bit of break from having to keep eating all the time because your insulin resistance and your cells are depleted and they're not getting the nutrients they needed, so they keep signaling to you that you need to eat more and to eat more. Quietens that down a little bit. And you use that window to address the root cause, the dysfunction. You work on insulin resistance through personalized nutrition. You heal the gut dysfunction. You correct nutrient deficiencies. You balance hormones. You build cellular health from the foundation up. Eventually, transition off the medication with a metabolism that actually works. See the difference? The medication isn't the solution. The medication creates the conditions for the solution. Let me repeat that. The medication isn't the solution. The medication creates the conditions for the solution. Think about this. If you broke your leg, you'd use crutches while it heals, right? You have to get around. You want to be functional. You want to be, keep doing all the things that you need to do with the broken leg. The crutches actually don't fix the break. They give the body the support it needs while the actual healing happens underneath. You get it? That's what GLP-1s should be doing for your metabolism. When I look at live blood analysis on clients who've been on GLP-1s but haven't addressed metabolic dysfunction, I see the same problems I saw before. It doesn't help at the cellular level. And I don't mean to laugh, but it is kind of comical from my perspective anyways. Insulin resistance at the cellular level is still there. Inflammatory markers are still there. Poor nutrient absorption is still there. Cellular dysfunction. The medication suppressed the appetite and helped them lose weight, but it didn't fix what was broken. That's why weight comes back. The study also compared weight gain after stopping medication to weight regain after stopping behavioral programs. So, yes, people who stopped behavioral programs regained weight more slowly as well. But here's what that comparison misses. People who succeed with behavioral programs have already built in metabolic foundation. They've learned to eat in a way that supports insulin sensitivity. They've addressed their stress. They've improved their sleep. They've worked on their relationship with food. They didn't just eat less and move more. They actually fixed the metabolism over time through consistent behavior change. That's why the weight didn't come back as fast. But most people can't even start that behavioral work when their metabolism is completely broken. When insulin resistance is raging, your hormones are dysregulated. When cells can't access fuel, willpower doesn't work. That's where medication can be powerful. It creates the window where behavioral change becomes possible, but you still have to do the work during that window. You can't just take the medication, wait for the weight to fall off, stop the medication, and expect everything to stay the same. That's not how metabolism works. So, if you're on GLP-1s now or considering them, here's what you need to do to avoid becoming another statistic in the next weight gain study. Use the medication as a tool, not a solution. The medication gives you that breathing room. Use it. Utilize it. Use it to stabilize your blood sugar without constant battle. Reduce inflammation. Give your gut a chance to heal. There's a weird thought. Heal the gut. Work on your relationship with food. This is another powerful entity that we often miss, is that relationship with food. We have to have food in our lives. This is an ongoing thing for our own survival, but it's our relationship with food that can be quite dysfunctional. I know mine is. This is kind of where I'm dealing with a lot of things. You got to give your body a chance to heal. Um, heal that relationship without overwhelming it with hunger all the time. Build sustainable habits. You really want to address your metabolic dysfunction simultaneously. And this is non-negotiable. You need to know, what's your fasting insulin? Are you insulin resistant? How's your thyroid actually functioning? Not just the TSH, the full panel. What are your inflammatory markers? What nutrient deficiencies are affecting your metabolism? What's affecting or what's happening at a cellular level in your body? Then you need to prioritize protocols to fix those things. There's no use, trying to heal your gut if you're not digesting your food. There's levels to it. There's no use trying to digest your food if you're not eating the right foods. It's not a generic meal plan. There's levels to this, and it has to be very individualized. Not eat this, not that kind of list either. Protocols based on your blood chemistry, your cellular foundation, your metabolic blocks. It has to be very individualized and very personalized. You want to be able to build a foundation that lasts and one that actually lets you transition off the medication. So if you want to eventually stop the medication without gaining it all back, you need a metabolism that works without pharmaceutical support. That means restored insulin sensitivity, hands down, one of the big ones. Balanced hormones, healed gut foundation, get right to the root. A connected nutrient or corrected nutrient deficiencies, sustainable eating patterns that match your body chemistry, not emotional eating, in other words. This doesn't happen automatically. You have to work on it while you're on the medication. And then you have to work with someone who understands both. You need support from someone who understands how GLP-1 medications work metabolically And you need to know how to use them as part of comprehensive strategy. You need to know how to address the root cause dysfunction, how to transition off successfully when the time is right, not just a doctor who prescribes and refills. Okay. Um, I'm not just a nutritionist who's anti-medication. I'm not anti-medication by any means. I don't just tell you eat better and then send you on your way. I'm someone who actually gets the whole picture and sees you as a real person, not just a symptom. My commitment, and I say this to all my clients, this is exactly why I'm documenting my own journey with Ozempic and metabolic balance protocols. I'm not just taking medication and hoping for the best. I'm using it as a bridge while I simultaneously work on my insulin resistance, which I can see in my own blood work and in my live blood analysis. I'm working on my cellular inflammation, which I can actually see ongoing and feel. When you start listening to your body, you innately can just know just by what's happening. The little bit of aches and pains, the swelling, not being able to think properly, a little bit of brain fog or not being able to sleep. All these little signs and symptoms that we often ignore, they become very apparent to you. My personalized nutrition protocol based on my own blood chemistry. So this is the metabolic balance program that I coach, but I also am doing myself. I look at my stress response patterns, my gut healing. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it all, the real way, the sustainable way, the way it doesn't end up for you gaining it all back in 18 months. That's ultimately my goal and what I really hope for a lot of people as well too, because why bother otherwise? What is the purpose behind all of this? My deeper need and want to get to a certain weight is, yes, a little bit of vanity, but also my metabolic health. I don't want a diagnosis in 2 years of diabetes. I don't want to have a diagnosis of cancer. I don't want to have a diagnosis of heart disease. I don't want to have a stroke. I don't want to have a heart attack. I don't want these things. I really don't. And I don't think you do either. The thing is, I'm heading it off before it happens. I'm preventing. This is all about prevention. It's all about bringing the body back into balance and allowing it to do the natural things that it does naturally, like detox on its own, like metabolize carbohydrates and utilize them in a sustainable way without storing them like fat. Um, and just having that beautiful way that the body works all the time. After years of it being abused, after years of eating poorly and all these different dysfunctions happening in the body, this is the time now before it's too late. Because I refuse to become another weight regain statistic. And you don't have to be either. If you're using GLP-1s or considering them and you want to do it right with metabolic support, root cause protocols, and a plan to transition off them successfully, I have a community called the Kitchen Table. And this kitchen table is a group, a safe place for support, for questions, for non-judgmental, authentically being who you are, where you will see my journey as well as all the others that are in the group as well too. This is where I'll be sharing everything, teaching the metabolic principles that actually really matter, and creating a space where we can feel supported without fear-mongering or judgment. The first 50 Mounders actually get in and a locked-in price of $27 a month, and that's for life as long as you are actively present in the group. After that, the price is going to go up. Link is in the description below. So click on that and check us out. But, don't let the fear-mongering scare you away from a tool that could actually help you and deter and prevent metabolic dysfunction going forward. When it's used properly, it can actually save lives. The thing is, there's no reason for you to be on it forever. People, yes, they regain weight after stopping GLP-1s, but people also regain weight after every diet they've ever tried. Otherwise, and that includes you, otherwise you wouldn't be here. The difference is whether you fix what's broken underneath. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm going to show you how to do. It's going to be a long road. I've got a lot of issues. And this is just going to be able to help show you how it works. And that's how we make this work long term. If you found this helpful at all, or you think it might be helpful for somebody that you love, please hit subscribe and share it off to somebody that might need that information. I'm going to be posting a couple times a week with real talk about metabolic health, GLP-1s, and what it actually takes to fix a broken metabolism. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And please be kind to everybody, including yourself.